Thank you, Chairperson. I'd also like to thank Standing Orders for giving me the graveyard slot on Sunday afternoon after you all have to have 2 good nights' sleep, I assume, have you? It's just somewhat disappointing because I know there are a number of speakers here that actually came this morning and got to bed early last night and got up early with the expectation that they would be coming into the hall to speak this morning. So it's quite disappointing that those people who actually put time and energy into bringing motions forward didn't actually get that time this morning. So I would call very, very strongly on the Standing Orders Committee to ensure that we have a schedule next year, that when people do make the long journey to wherever conference is, that they do get the opportunity to speak. Thank you. I was hoping to respond individually to each of the motions that we were going through them, but what I would like to do is maybe just give a synopsis of some thoughts with some of the motions that I had some familiarity with. I think a key principle in housing in Ireland is the right for people someday to be able to buy a home. And a key aspect of that is the right to tenant purchase. And that tenant purchase is a core principle of Labour Party policy in housing, and particularly so in social housing. This is something that is particularly an issue that has been dragging on for a number of years now. And in one particular area, it's the situation whereby tenants who live in social housing flats are denied the right to buy their home. We've campaigned continuously on this, and it is hoped that when the miscellaneous housing bill comes to committee stage in May, that we will eventually see the success of this campaign, and we will have a situation whereby residents who live on the same street, who pay rent to the same local authority, have the same right to be able to buy their home, not because they live in a house or because they live in a flat, because they are tenants who are facilitated with that right. Another aspect of this, and it is a motion that was put in by my own branch, social housing should not mean second-class housing, and particularly so, it should not mean second-standard housing. The idea that it can take 12 months to 2 years for a local authority to put a house back out to allocation is criminal. When there are thousands of people across this country waiting for a house, and they come into our advice centres, you hear it, the house came back to the council 6 months ago, it came back to the council 12 months ago, and that house is still lying idly by because of some practice that is completely inexcusable and certainly indefensible, that that house is vacant for 12 to 24 months later. With the bill that's coming through, the miscellaneous housing bill, there is one consistent theme in the bill, and it's the mentality of the Galway tent is still alive. The tent may be folded up, but the mentality that operated inside it is still alive and well. And how that is actually visible is that all of the incentivizations that are actually in housing in the new bill are exclusively there for new build. There's no real focus on regeneration. There's no real focus on existing housing stock. And concepts such as Ciaran Clancy mentioned this morning are very, very questionable when put under examination. That how is it that the state is getting into long-term leases on properties that they will be handing back in 20 years' time? How is it that we are creating a scenario where the maintenance of those houses for the next 20 years will be paid for by tenants' rents? And ultimately, when the property market recovers, we're going to give these houses back to developers. That's a very, very questionable practice. There are 2 motions which are before us this morning. Motion 93 and 94, where John Gallagher and Donna Pearce spoke about. And we would like to conclude on speaking about this. At present, when a tenant hands over a deposit, that deposit can literally go back into a biscuit tin, it can go into a bank, it can go into one's back pocket, it can be laid on a horse. Anything can be done with it because there is no legislation in this country governing the holding of deposits by landlords. And in response to the motions by those two branches, I will be bringing forward a bill this week. And that bill will require the payment of deposits to the Private Residential Tenancies Board in respect of all registered tenancies. In Ireland at this moment, there are 250,000 registered properties. With a deposit of €1,000 per household, this will create a fund of €250 million. €250 million that is presently out there in biscuit tins, in back pockets, and unregulated. It's time for that regulation to end, and for an account to be set up that is held within the state. It will also create a saving of approximately €80 million, because at present, rent allowance deposits handed over by community welfare officers to landlords go into the same stream, and there are approximately 80,000 rent allowance accounts or rents in place at this moment in time. So what we can do with that sum of money is that notionally the community welfare officer can, as part of the registration process, give a guarantee on the deposit, and there will be an immediate saving of €80 million to the Exchequer. This isn't an idea that Ciaran Lynch came up with. I wish it was. It's a very good one. What it is, it's an idea that has been doing the rounds for quite a while, but it's an idea that has been campaigned for by agencies like Threshold, by people within the Labour Party, but it's an idea that has been in place in other countries for quite a while, and it's an idea whose time has come to Ireland, and Labour will be putting it in place. Thank you.